So now let's interpret these relative frequency tables. So the question asks, what percent of participants in the study were given the medicine and saw improvement? So they were given the medicine, so we're here, and yes, they saw improvement. That would be 32%. Was the number of participants given the medicine the same as the number of participants given the placebo? Yes, because of the rho relative frequency table. Shows 50% total were given the medicine, and 50% total were given placebo. So what percent of the voters plan to vote for the Republican candidate and no on question 1? So Republican and no, and where those cross over, it is 17.6%. Based on this table, which candidate would win the election? Well, based on this table right here, I see that Republican would win because a slight higher percentage would vote for that person, for that candidate. What percent of people given the pill reported an improvement? So here, total people given the pill, what percent recorded an improvement? 42%. Oh, whoops. 42% of all people were given improvement. Is there evidence that medicine is more effective than the placebo? Yes, because 64% saw improvement on the medicine, while only 20% saw improvement on the placebo. What percentage of voters who plan to vote for the Democrat plan to vote no on question 1? Democrat and no. Where they overlap? 59.6%. Is there an association between the voter's choice of candidate and how they plan to vote on question 1? I'm going to say yes, there is. Because this frequency table is in respect to the candidate, and it is because one candidate has a higher percentage in yes, and the other is higher in no. What percent of those who saw an improvement was given the medicine? In this case, of the people who saw improvement were given the medicine, 67.2%. Is there any evidence that improvement was related to the type of pill? And we are going to say yes again, because a higher percentage who saw improvement was given the medicine. So this was in respects to improvement, that frequency table. Which table would you use to see if voting yes on question 1? So this is to respect of question 1 right there. What table would is popular supporters with the Republican candidate? I am going to say we are going to use the column because it's with respect to question 1. So you would say that voting yes right here shows that the Republican candidate favors, or the people voting Republican favor voting yes on question 1 more than the other. What percent of voters who plan to vote no on question 1 also plan to vote for the Democratic candidate? Where those overlap is 62.7%. And is there evidence association between how voters plan to vote on question 1 and their choice of candidate? Yes, because a lot of yeses here. One candidate has a higher percentage when voting yes, and that is opposite for the other candidate. You are looking for evidence that the medicine is effective. So we're looking for improvement here. We are going based on improvement. Which table do you think is more helpful? Since we want data based on improvement, the column relative frequency table is what we would want to use. So since we want to find out what is medicine is more effective, right? We want to find out that the medicine so we want improvement So here, we want to find what gives us better evidence that the medicine is effective. So the medicine is a type of pill. So here we are going to want to go row relative frequency because the medicine is a type of pill and we want to look at the data with respect to the type of pill.